So let's discuss about ear infections. We'll divide this into different parts. First, we'll discuss about the ear's anatomy. What are the causes of ear infections? How do we manage them? How do we prevent ear infections? And what are the do's and don'ts in ear infections? And simply a take-home message. Let's understand the ear's anatomy. So the external ear then connects to the ear canal, which goes to the middle ear. Middle ear has few bones for conduction of the sound. It also has a eustachian tube which connects the ear to the nose. Then the middle ear connects to the inner ear, which has nerve endings which transmits the sound from the external ear to the brain. So let's understand what type of infection babies get. Usually the infection that babies get most of the times is a middle ear infection. Some babies may also get an external ear infection. This is mostly seen in swimmers. But why do babies get ear infections more often compared to adults? So the eustachian tube is the one that is very important in this. Eustachian tube is narrower, it is more horizontal, and it is a short tube. Because of being short, narrow and horizontal, it is a perfect ground for bacteria to run up from the nose to the ear. In children, the eustachian tube is shorter than adults. So what happens, it makes it easier for the bacteria, virus to travel from the ear to the middle ear. It is also quite narrow, making it difficult for the middle ear cavity fluid to be drained out, and also it is quite horizontal compared to adults. Again, reducing the draining of liquid that can happen from the middle ear to the nose. So in allergies or in viral infections, this eustachian tubes gets blocked, causing an increased pressure in your middle ear cavity. This can cause an increased risk of infection in babies. So what are the causes of ear infections? The most common cause is a bacterial infection. Most common bacteria that can cause are Streptococcus pneumoniae and H. influenza. It can also happen if the baby has upper respiratory tract infections. So as discussed, whatever infection is there in the nose can travel up the ear with the eustachian tube's help, and it is easier so in pediatric patients. It can also happen that the eustachian tube gets blocked. This can happen if the baby has allergies. Allergies and irritants can cause ear infections secondarily. Secondhand smoke exposure can also block eustachian tube and nose in general and cause ear infections. Even formula or bottle feeding in the lying down position or pacifier use can cause ear infections by sometimes causing a reflux, which then goes into the nose and then traveling up to the ear. So what are the symptoms of ear infections? Ear infection symptoms might differ from the age of the baby. So usually they will have irritability, reduced feeding, decreased appetite, frequent waking up, lethargy, fever, some ear discharge maybe. A toddler who is 1 to 3 years of age may describe some pain or rub the ear, or may not respond when called upon, having some hearing difficulty, or there might be some ear discharge that you can see. The child may have reduced appetite, fever. Also in preschoolers, now they can tell you their symptoms. They can tell if they cannot hear a little lesser on that side, or they can tell if they have any pain on that side. So they might have pain, fever, ear discharge. So when should you visit your pediatrician? If your child has ear discomfort which is persistent, a fever which is not reducing, the child is irritable, is lethargic, those are the emergency signs to visit your pediatrician. What happens if you pay no attention to this? So there can be permanent hearing loss. There can be a rupture of the eardrum. There can also be spread of this infection to the other body parts and causes sepsis. Okay, so what will the doctor do when you go to the clinic? The doctor will examine the ear with an otoscope. Now this procedure is not painful. It is like a small machine that they use which has light to check the ear canal, the ear drum, look for the discharge, if there is any rupture or any swelling, inflammation, all that is checked with an otoscope. So depending upon the age of the baby, the doctor will pull up the ear or pull it downwards to align the ear canal for better visibility. So what all is seen? You can see the detailed structures of the eardrum, if there is any swelling around it, if there is any redness, or if there is any fluid built up in the ear canal. So how do we prevent ear infections? First step is vaccination. Two vaccines that are very important. One is the flu vaccine and second is the pneumococcal vaccine. Flu vaccine is given at 6 months, repeated at 7 months, and then yearly vaccine is given. It is very important to give this one because it reduces your risk of upper respiratory tract infection and eventually ear infection. Second one is the pneumococcal vaccine. Now this vaccine reduces the risk of streptococcal pneumoniae infections, which is again a most common cause of your ear infections. So this vaccine is given at 6, 10 and 14 weeks. You should stick to your regular routine of vaccines and avoid skipping or delaying them. Second step is hand hygiene. Now, hand hygiene can be taught to children as early as 1 to 2 years. So, washing their hands before eating, before playing, if they are dirty, you can teach them hand etiquettes while cuffing using their hand and then washing up that hand. All these hand hygiene methods do help. You can also try to keep their toys and utensils clean. So washing the toys frequently, weekly or so, cleaning them if there's any dirt or food on them, if they are mouthing, so you can remove that and clean those toys frequently to avoid exposure to such viruses and bacteria. Third would be to reduce your second-hand smoke exposures. Avoid drinking cigarettes and smoking in front of children. Avoid getting children to atmospheres where there is massive burning, or even in Holi where they burn in front of you. So avoiding exposure to second-hand smoke for children is very important. Smoke can be a frequent allergen in children to cause upper respiratory tract infections and eventually ear infections. Similarly, some children are very prone to allergies. Allergies are common because of dust, pollen. Recognizing these allergies and then avoiding exposures to the known particles of allergens are very important. So some of the times it is soft toys which have a lot of dust accumulated and which further cause allergies. So keeping that environment of the baby clean in general will help you prevent ear infections. So let's understand what are the do's and don'ts in a ear infection. So do's would be to seek medical intervention as soon as possible and follow your doctor's prescription word to word. If there is a lot of pain, you can use some cold compression on the ear to relieve the pain. It is very important to hydrate your baby and give him proper rest. Also, follow-up is essential. Timely treatment is also as important. So if you have an allergic reaction or if there is an upper respiratory tract infection, going to the doctor immediately and avoiding these complications is one way to manage it. You can also consider breastfeeding. Breastfeeding gives a lot of antibodies to the baby. So it also detects if there is any microbe that is detected from the saliva of your baby. By the breast, it will create antibodies in the mother and transfer those antibodies to the baby. So breastfeeding is known to reduce ear infections in general. What are the don'ts of ear infection? So avoid taking over-the-counter medications. Avoid stopping antibiotics on your own or early stopping of antibiotics because the discharge has reduced. Don't use antibiotics that you have at home without consulting your doctor. Do not use any earbuds that might worsen the infection. If you notice any worsening of symptoms, it is very important to seek medical attention, which is on time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have understood the basics of ear infection and how it is managed. Thank you.